Well, hello, friends, and welcome. Pro life leader Frank Pavone here, bringing you my daily diary segment. What did I do each day? Today, I want to cover from Sunday, November 2nd through Thursday, November 6th of 2025. What did I do? Sunday, November 2nd, I actually started here early in the office. I did some taping in the studio and some work at my desk. And then let's see, some of the things I had to work on have to do with referral emails. That is, when people invite others to connect with our ministry. An e-letter for Silent No More, regional coordinators and members of that campaign. A preparation and follow up on a Zoom calls of Silent No More, and then also travel plans for upcoming trips. But after doing a little bit of office work, I went over to the home office of our executive director, Janet, on Merritt Island, where I was joined by our vice chairman and also Mark on our administrative team, and also our finance director. And all of us had an all day planning meeting. Now, we do this occasionally, it's very important for any organization to do. And we looked at the coming year. We looked at the plans and projects that we need to engage in. We looked at ways to improve the effectiveness of our ministry. And so it was an all-day meeting along those lines. We brought in Jerry Horn, our senior advisor, via Zoom. And we had a very fruitful series of discussions, and we had meals together and it just fellowshipped. And then after dinner, I did a little bit of additional work with our executive director there before returning to Titusville to my office. The next day, Monday, November 3rd, we did the very same thing. We gathered together. I did a little bit of work on my computer in regard to an email blast going out for elections, end of year report for Rachel's Vineyard, approval of a fax to go out to all the parishes, and also a little bit of work here in the studio before again leaving to go to Merritt Island, about 20-minute drive, and then meeting with those same people again all day long in order to do some very, very important planning for the coming year. And we did that effectively, completed the day later on, again with some additional work in the evening, and then I headed back here to my office. The next day, Tuesday, November 4th, was a trip. So I got picked up at 7:15 in the morning to go to Orlando Airport to get a flight to Michigan. So let's see, I flew into Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I picked up a rental car. And then I had to drive several hours north to a place called Bay Harbor, very beautiful spot in Michigan, where pastors from across Michigan and around the country were gathered for a conference of several days. This is the Liberty Pastors Gathering. I've spoken before, and I was there to present to them the teaching on abortion and what the churches can do to stop abortion. So it was basically a day of travel, but in the process of all that, I was on the phone with staff and administration. I did a little bit of email. I always work at the terminal there waiting for the flight, and on the plane itself. Things like advertising opportunities for pro-life groups to advertise things on our networks, scripture themes for upcoming scripture reflection videos, a video for Michigan for their March for Life, Praying for America on RSBN, planning those programs, and arranging for mass intent to give to associate priests. Then I got there at Bay Harbor. I settled into the hotel there and got ready for the next day when I would be reading all the pastors, speaking to them. The next day was Wednesday, November 5th. And indeed, I got together with those pastors starting early in the morning. The pastors were gathered. We had a good breakfast together. And then I was the first speaker of the day. So I presented to them for about 30 minutes abortion and all the different dynamics of the issue and the resources of Priests for Life. And everything went very, very nicely, and a lot of interaction with them individually throughout the course of the day, as well as interaction with the other speakers who were there. And it was a fantastic day of networking like that. I also took some time aside to get on my email and deal with things like columns sent to Life News that I wrote about the National Association of Christian Lawmakers, a letter, email blast to the Silent No More monthly letter to them, Silent No More participants. Let's see, a letter also to one of our Jewish leader colleagues in the pro-life movement about some help that he can give to us. We have some land in Texas that we're selling. I don't know if any of you want to buy some land in Texas, but I did some work in regard to that. Approval of an appeal letter, travel plans for Philadelphia, getting together with some donors and potential donors and pro-life activists, for approval of a press release and promotion of our pro-life products. So that was some of what I did at my computer, but again, it was a day of really networking with these pastors from all across the country. And then finally, Thursday, the 6th of November. So what I did, I was at Bay Harbor with the pastors, but early that morning, I hopped in my car like at 5:30 and drove to Lansing. So from Bay Harbor to Lansing is about 3 hours. So in the car, I was on the phone with various team members and even pro-life leaders. I had a strategy meeting with a pro-life leader in Ohio and got a lot of fruitful work done on the way there to Lansing. When I arrived in Lansing, I parked my car, and as soon as I got out, I was there for the March for Life for the state of Michigan. And as soon as I got out, I started greeting pro-life people that were coming off a bus. And the first bus I greeted, of course, they knew who I was, and they said, "Oh, we're going to see our state legislator. You want to come with us?" So I went with this wonderful high school group into the state capitol. We met with one of the pro-life legislators and had a nice session with him. Then from there, I walked over to the rally site, and then I began an entire morning of networking. Everywhere I turned, pro-life people, of course, who have known me over the years, not only because of my many, many visits to and speaking engagements in the state of Michigan, but also just through our national pro-life work and our broadcast. Pro-lifers there from across Michigan are very strong and active, and it was a pleasure to meet with many of them, including with some various state legislators, other pro-life leaders. We had a marvelous time interacting with everybody, and then actually marching through the streets of Lansing and witnessing to the sanctity of life. It was a good rally. It was a good march. At the end of the march, I continued networking with everybody there, and I even walked downtown a little bit to a little gathering that was being sponsored by one of the pro-life groups, and there networked with some additional people, including some folks from the central office of the Knights of Columbus. They come to our leadership meetings, and I was speaking to their representative about that. Oh, so it was a great afternoon of lots of good networking. Now from there, then I got into my car and drove to, well, let's see, I even had time to hop on a little bit of email, because then I drove to the airport in Detroit. It was a little bit of a drive, returned to the rental car, and caught a flight at night back to Orlando. So I did have a chance at the airport to get back on my emails. I had to work on some things related to travel plans, some work with my data staff in terms of obtaining new phone numbers for our contacts, approval of an appeal, and communication in regard to our prospecting, which is mailings to potential supporters. Did all of that, flew back to Orlando. One of my staff picked me up. I landed at about 35 in the night and got back. So November 2nd through the 6th, 2025, what I did. I hope your activities are fruitful and happy as well. Let's work together, friends, because we've got a job to do. Got to end abortion. Let's do it together. Success. God bless you.